Hello there, I'm Moldy, and you are not mistaken, we do not clickbait here. Today, we're going to be going over the numbers, and I'm going to be explaining to you why I think LEGO Star Wars CMFs are more than possible. In fact, they're even as much as likely over the next couple of years. And we'll get into a full lineup of what I think is the perfect Skywalker Saga 12 minifigures at the end of this video. Though, let's be honest, we'd all want 16 minifigures to return if we got a Star Wars CMF. First off, I want to go over a few different minifigures that LEGO have put out there because there is a big, and I mean an absolutely massive, I've completely forgot the word. But when it comes to LEGO Star Wars, everyone seems to think, oh, they don't own the license to make these minifigures, and Hasbro are the only ones that are allowed to sell action figures by themselves. I think there is a big reason why CMFs come with accessories and base plates to try and get around that for certain themes. But when it comes to Star Wars, I just want to say, I don't think LEGO Star Wars releasing a CMF is with the company's best interests at heart. Would they rather sell us minifigures that we can get for really, really cheap, or pair them with vehicles, ships, and other accessories and really make us spend more money? Anyway, this whole video is inspired by the brand new Grogu pram. So let's take a look at Grogu prams in general. And whilst we're taking a look at all the Grogu prams, it's actually a good point to bring up another topic that a load of people have been clickbaiting recently about the decline of LEGO Star Wars. Well, the first Grogu pram we got a few years ago was from the Advent calendar, and it was a pretty good standard Grogu pram. I mean, there's not much to it, and that got followed up with the UCS Razor Crest Grogu pram. So, you know, you're expecting it to be a little bit better, and it was. They definitely did a lot more for this, just in the base of it. Most of this is very similar to the Advent calendar's pram, but the fact that it's got a base and can actually hover, and it was in the correct colors, no Christmassy themes, really did a lot for the Grogu pram in that set. The next one we got was in, I think we skipped a year here and went all the way forward to Keller and Beck's Speeder and Sidecar. So slightly different colors here. You've not got the red that's worn down from the days of the Republic. So that's still showing, and it does look pretty nice, a bit smaller, so it does fit in that sidecar. But they've managed to get rid of a few pieces to match the part count of the set compared to the UCS version without actually going backwards or getting rid of any detail, which I really, really like. And now the next ones, both coming out January 1st, 2025, is, well, hold on, that's definitely a step down. This was from a 4+ set, and I know loads of people have been using this as one of their many examples of the fact Star Wars is going downhill. I think for a 4+, this definitely looks like more of a spaceship, but this is going to spark some really, really imaginative stories in Little Builders. But the main one we're focusing on this year is the one from Grogu's pram set, the giant buildable Grogu and pram. And it looks better than ever because they've managed to get the same detail in a smaller build, which is closer to minifigure scale. In fact, let's bring back the 4+ one as well. Can't leave any out. It's not far off the size of my custom Grogu pram, which is definitely modified since the last time you saw it. If you would like to build this, I'll give members the free instructions to all tiers. But I really like how LEGO are moving forward, and this is a bit bulkier than the latest one that LEGO have built. So they've definitely tried to keep the size small, but perhaps this could be another version, perhaps the next version even, of the Grogu pram. I'm really happy with how this turned out. But what on earth has all this got to do with CMFs? Well, this is the ticket to CMFs if LEGO aren't allowed to just sell figures. Originally, this video was just going to be a CMF full of like Yoda and prams, Klieg Lars and his wheelchair. And even my recording equipment didn't want that to come true. So instead, I've switched it up. I do think it's a very interesting point I do have to cover. The fact that including any brick built, literally anything from a tiny Grogu pram all the way up to the Katana, which is Jabba's sail barge, which is the latest in the line of UCS sets until we get that £1,000 Death Star in May. Counts as it being more than just a minifigure and would allow LEGO to make a Star Wars CMF. The reason loads of people don't think, and I do admit, I do have to agree with them, that minifigures cannot be sold alone. This is a Han polybag from around 10, 12 years ago now, and this was sold just like this, but it kind of wasn't sold because I picked this up in the aftermarket. Initially, this was given away as a promotion. There are a few other minifigures across the years that were given away for some May event. I didn't realize there were so few minifigures given away over the early 2010s because everyone speaks about it like it was this golden age where it was only like 3 years. It definitely felt like longer. But nowadays, the minifigures we can buy from Lego. This was available, I can't remember exactly where. I think I picked this up in the store for the 20th anniversary. This is the Kenobi minifigure, which was given away as a gift with purchase as well. But you could go in and buy this in a Lego store. The polybag containing not only minifigures, but the bricks needed to build a base, which was only 5-6 years ago. So surely this would get around them not needing the license to sell action figures. And around the same time, we also got this absolutely beautiful lineup of minifigures, which each came with their own base with this little back card, which gave us a little bit of the scenery around it. And this is probably the closest to CMF minifigures, though again, a lot of these were given away as promotional items. And whilst you could pick up some of these as polybags in certain stores, and I think I even picked one up at Legoland at some point. These definitely aren't CMF worthy at all. In fact, Kenobi was the only one you could actually purchase individually without having to spend money on other Lego sets. I still think the most hopeful I've been for Lego releasing a Star Wars CMF isn't even with all of these little polybag minifigures we've got across the years. But this year, we got a Formula One, not a collectible minifigures, but a collectible race car series, which is something brand new to the collectible minifigures area. We've only ever had collectible minifigures, and there's definitely been other collections to get within Lego, especially when it comes to bonus May 4th minifigures, which I'm crossing my fingers we get another one this year. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. These F1 cars, they come with a brand new brick built body piece. It's like a 2x2 that includes the torso and alludes to the legs of the race car, and then has a head and a helmet on top. Now, I think they could do this with full minifigures as well as just the regular CMFs, and would probably likely to be charged a bit extra for this, because if Lego are charging £3.50 for a minifigure and a few extra bricks, a minifigure and a scene is definitely going to cost at least £5, maybe even a little bit more than that. But for a Star Wars CMF, I think that's well worth it. So let's take a look at the 12 minifigures I've got in mind. And just in case this is the first video you're watching of mine, when I say 12, there are going to be more than 12 listed off here. But there's 12 different slots to fill, and I'm going to try and keep it as concise as I can, though especially when it comes to A New Hope and all the different alien species in the cantina, I might run a bit wild. But we'll loop back to that at the end. Phantom Menace, starting off with the first Star Wars movie. I put forward C-3PO on the workbench with his wiring and all his components exposed, because I don't really see them giving us a 3PO like that in any other set, unless we get a Skywalker Homestead playset that comes with a little Annie, a few of the other gang, and a Shmi Skywalker as well, which would be another minifigure I would like to get. But also 3PO, it crosses off a really iconic minifigure that has to be in this CMF. But I don't think a gold 3PO could do, they can't do any better than gold 3PO. Silver leg, red arm, we've got printing all over for every version of 3PO. Even if they gave us a fully gold one, you can already make that with pieces that exist from Lego sets. So I think the exposed wires would be really cool, and people would buy multiple so they can have other exposed wires on different sorts of droids. If we get arm printing, leg printing, they can't miss out this C-3PO. Jumping forward to Attack of the Clones, my personal favorite Star Wars movie. And there are quite a few different costumes all of them relating to Padme Amidala, because we've got to get some more of her wardrobe, a few other characters that definitely could go in there. But the dress I went with, and it is a dress, is Padme's wedding dress. Again, this has so much application to outside of Star Wars. It can be used so much like those droid parts from C-3PO in the Episode 1 minifigure slot. And for Padme to build a bit of scenery, we could have a little balcony from the Naboo lake house. Just a little fence going up on one side, perhaps on the back of the display, and then they can tile down the floor in. They could probably even give us some printed parts for the floor, dependent on what the pattern of the lake house looks like. For the third minifigure in our list, we've gone to Star Wars The Clone Wars, the first Star Wars movie I saw in cinema. And let's see if you can guess who I am thinking of. I'll give you a couple seconds to write it down in the comments or just think of it in your head. I've gone with General Worm Losum, the Kirkoidan, I believe the species is, with the Tarine tea that he and Kenobi drinks when they are just trying to stall. I think Kenobi's definitely needed for a set, but getting another alien in a Star Wars CMF is something they've got to go all in for. And I really think LEGO would just give us a ton of aliens, as well as a few other well-known characters to get a few other eyes interested in the CMF. But I don't think I have to explain that one anymore. Revenge of the Sith. I will say my partner had a really good one for Revenge of the Sith. Bail Organa and Baby Leia. But I'm on the alien head mold train here. And I've gone with Mas Amedda, who is the Chagrian in the Senate. I think we could get a little Senate pod, which would look really, really cool in a CMF size display. But Bail and Baby Leia is also another really good one, because I don't think we get Bail that often in LEGO. So it'd be a cool minifigure just to slide in there for those who don't have him. And being a senator, I'm sure you can reuse the costume for other Star Wars senators. Jumping ahead to Solo, we've got a few different creatures we could get for Solo, but a lot of them LEGO have already given us. So I've gone with Argos Panox, the Azumel, which is the six-eyed alien at the card table, which tries to peek at Han's cards. Though there's not too many of this alien species showing up in Star Wars, in comics especially, there are quite a few, including a High Republic Jedi Knight of the same species. So it's still got a little bit of use outside of just that one character. We could have also got Dryden Voss, which is the only main character that Solo have missed, but it's a fairly easy custom to put together. And again, very humanoid, so I'd rather go with an alien species. From Rogue One, I'm sure I really don't need to go on about this. Galen Erso has to be the only minifigure I feel like they're missing in the Tarkin's Initiative clothes. With some arm print in, it's a CMF series. We could get that logo on the arm. And then for an accessory, I really couldn't think of anything that could do Galen Erso justice. So instead of going with a moisture evaporator, I went with a mouse droid, because it would be nice for someone to get a little side build as well as the original minifigure. For A New Hope, I've gone with Luke and the Binary Sunset. Brick built in the background purely on the basis that I want some dual molded legs for Luke Skywalker. How many Luke land speeders are we to get without getting dual molded legs for our boy Luke? But there are a ton of other minifigures. We'll loop back to that one at the end. The original trilogy are very basic characters, but I feel like LEGO would definitely do this to rope some people in and to get some really cool builds. Because for Empire Strikes Back, I've gone with Boba Fett. We can get some arm printing. I have some custom arm printing, and there is an Empire Strikes Back arm printed Boba Fett out there for arm printing. Side of the leg printing, probably even dual molded legs for Boba Fett, which I'm not sure exactly how that would work. But you know, it's a CMF. We'll go all out for the sake of Boba Fett. And the brick built display for Boba Fett will be a giant jetpack smoke screen. I've seen Brickmate build a really cool one. So basically that, but make it more Lego, reduce a few of the pieces, and fit it on a CMF base plate. Would look really cool. Boba Fett just taking off. And whilst he doesn't really fly that much in Empire Strikes Back, I can't think of him really using it up until Return of the Jedi. It would just be a really cool display piece that would look really nice alongside the others, which is why Return of the Jedi might be a little disappointment. Palpatine on his throne. The throne they built for the diorama was really cool. They could probably get away with reusing that and touching it up just a little bit, but there's nothing more iconic than Palpatine sat on his throne. I was trying to throw Vader in there with a few, genuinely couldn't think of anything else once I was picturing Palpatine on the throne. We'll jump forward to these sequels now and wrap them up before jumping back to Chalmun's Cantina. We've got Hurried 327, I think is the name of the droid. It's the big red droid, which is what I've got written down. Big red droid from Force Awakens. When they're on Takodana walking through and Finn looks up and it's just this massive droid. A brick-built droid would be really interesting to throw into a CMF because they're mostly minifigure-shaped builds as well. But I couldn't think of anyone else from Force Awakens that we are missing. For The Last Jedi, Princess Leia with her grey dress that comes just over her face. Definitely a material piece we can use. And a brick-built Voltex on the sands of Krayt, like a red base plate with a few white tiles on the top. That could look really, really nice. And definitely adds to the cinematography of that movie with some of the scenes, and especially the Voltex and all the other aliens were really, really cool to see. Rise of Skywalker, I've gone with Palpatine's guard with possibly a little Sith cultist build for Exegol. We are getting Palpatine in a book this April, which will be really nice to get my hands on. If only we had some Palpatine guards in a battle pack that could protect Palpatine from the likes of Rey. But that is all 12 of my minifigures. One day I hope to be able to build these, and I'm already working on a few customs as well, so maybe that day will come sooner than I expect. But as for other Chalmun aliens, we've got Lak Sirvak, who is a Shistavan like Brutus from Skeleton Crew, the bat-like werewolf creature, and all of these could come with a little table, some blue milk, and maybe a different portion of the table. We just get a CMF for Chalmun's Cantina, and we piece together a few other tables to go with a Master Builders series. I think the time might have passed a little bit for that. We could also have got Hern Dazon, who is an Arconan, which is similar to, I think it was L-less. I did research this before the video, but it was a bounty hunter in the Clone Wars. We've got Pons Limbic, who is a Cinetine who's like Brick, who's trained the clones with the really big head. And I believe that's the only 2 times those aliens have shown up in the entirety of Star Wars, which is very, very rare when you're looking at a ton of aliens. And then we've also got Takil and Zuckan, who are the, I think, unofficially Snaggletooth, officially Snivians. I actually remember these characters from the Lego Star Wars Complete Saga games, but in looking back and trying to find them, loading back up the game again, I couldn't find any. So I don't know if you have to be playing it for so long or if it's like a bonus Easter egg in the game. But if you remember these Snaggletooths from the Lego games, please do let me know down in the comments to know I'm not going crazy. And if there's any other minifigures you would like to see in a Lego Star Wars CMF, the first Lego Star Wars CMF, please do also let me know down in the comments. I think this is a solid 12, especially having one from every movie, but with the Mandoverse next year being the 13th Star Wars movie, we're going to forget about the holiday special and I guess all the other Ewok ones. Maybe if we add them up, it might round off the number a little bit more. But the main movies that you can find on Disney Plus, not in the retro section. On a little side note, those Ewok movies are quite fun if you do want to watch them. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. That is all. We're going to wrap it up there. I can't wait to hear all your other ideas in the comments. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. May the bricks be with you always.